vintage Florida fishing village meets new urbanism. The beaches of 30A on today's Family Vacationer. Author of Meet Me on 30A and local resident Susan Vallee talks about this beautiful stretch of the Gulf Coast. Episode 21 starts right now.
Welcome to the Family Vacationer with Rob and Danny. The go-to podcast for families on the move.
Welcome, friends. I'm Rob.
And I'm Danny, and this is the Family Vacationer, episode 21. Hey, please do us a huge favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And also, we'd love it if you do a review of the podcast. And lastly, sign up for our newsletter and be the first to receive promotional deals for your next vacation. Join the family today. Now, before we get started, I want to say a very special congratulations to Rob on getting his CTA with the Travel Institute.
Thank you, sir. The Certified Travel Associate designation is something I'm very proud to receive. It's not something I needed to be a travel agent, but with everything in the world of travel changing, it seems like daily now.
Yes,
I just want to demonstrate that I have a commitment to continually learning and growing as an agent. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, great job, man. Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, well, let's get right into talking about my favorite place on the planet, the Panhandle of Florida, the Gulf of Mexico. I've visited either Panama City or Destin every year of my life since I was 2. In fact, we just made plans today to go down in July, so very excited about that. Danny, awesome. You've been down there as well.
Yeah, I've been to Destin several times, Panama City. We've actually gone to Mexico Beach, and I think one of my favorites was Santa Rosa right there in between all of that. It's a great place to visit.
Nice. Well, nestled between Panama City Beach and the city of Destin is a stretch of beaches that have taken on the name of the road that connects them, 30A.
Right. So what beach communities are we actually talking about when we say 30A? You've got Inlet Beach, Rosemary Beach, Seacrest, Alice Beach, Water Sound, Seagrove Beach, Seaside, Watercolor, Grayton Beach, Blue Mountain Beach, Gulf Place, Dune Allen, Sandestin, and Miramar Beach.
Which is weird to me because I didn't know Sandestin and Miramar were considered part of 30A.
Yeah.
I've always thought of the stretch as Dune Allen to Inlet Beach, only because both sides are bookmarked by one of the best places to eat in Destin or Panama City. It's the Donut Hole. There's one right before you get off 98, which is past Sandestin, headed to Dune Island, and another on Inlet Beach. So you got, your Vanilla Angel donuts, your red velvet donuts, and the best breakfast on the beach. So
Rob, you're actually drooling right now.
Yeah, sorry.
So just Well, anyway, in addition to donuts, this area is home to award-winning chefs with their distinct takes on beach classics, fantastic places to stay, a thriving arts scene, and a lot more. These communities are well worth taking a break from Highway 98. And with that, let's bring in author and resident of 30A, Susan Vallee. Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, Susan, you've written a book on 30A. It's called Meet Me on 30A. What inspired you to write the book, and what was the experience like for you putting the book together?
It was fun. I had worked with Mike Ragsdale before. He's the publisher and creator of 30A.com. And we had talked for a while about creating some type of product together. And for years, I had worked as the editor of the town papers for Seaside, the town of Seaside, and then created and also did the paper for Rosemary Beach. I felt like I knew a lot about 30A, and we've also lived here for about 20 years now. So Mike and I discussed what we wanted to do, and we wanted some way to introduce the different beach towns to people in a way that was simple and easy and would hopefully get across the different personalities of each town, because every little beach town has its own little flavor and, different vibe.
Sure.
Yeah. So while you're talking about that different vibe and flavor, how do you characterize what those different vibes are?
Well, it just kind of depends. Dune Allen Beach, if you start, I don't know how familiar listeners are with 30A. The one point of 30A begins with Dune Allen Beach, and then it kind of ends at Inlet Beach, which is where you cross over the bridge to go to Panama City Beach. So, for example, Dune Allen Beach has a much more laid-back, old Florida feel. There's a lot of really small concrete block cottages. It's not really overly developed. It's mainly just beach houses and beach accesses. Yep. And then there's a couple of really great, fun, casual seafood restaurants. And then on the opposite end of 30A, you have a very different experience with Rosemary Beach, which is much more formal, very nice restaurants, fancy hotels, you might want to say, fancier restaurants. It definitely has a much more put together formal feel. It's not somewhere I would necessarily, want to show up with a beer can in my hand, and flip flops and shorts and a tank top. I would want to be a little bit more put together for that beach experience. In the middle, you have just a bunch of different feels. Grayton Beach is probably one of our most famous beaches. Grayton Beach and Seaside, I would think, would be our most famous. And Grayton Beach has been voted one of the most beautiful beaches in the world by Dr. Beach and some other polls. Grayton Beach is really well known for the Red Bar. Have y'all heard of the Red Bar restaurant?
Yes. It burned down recently, correct?
It did. That was devastating. But they did rebuild, and it looks almost exactly like the old Red Bar. And the locals are super excited to get back in there and, just make it feel like it never burned down, like it never went away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of food, and you answered a question that we had because we were talking earlier about the beach communities that comprise 30A. One thing that I saw included Miramar and Sandestin, but I've always considered Donut Hole to Donut Hole. So we were joking. There's a donut hole right past Sandestin, right before you make the turn for what is that? That's Dune.
That's Dune Allen.
Dune Allen, yeah. And then at the end on Inland Beach, there's also a donut hole there. Not that I go every time, 3 or 4 times a visit or anything for the vanilla angels and the red velvet donuts. Anyway, but yeah, so food is an important part of any vacation, especially for my family. What are some of the more popular options on 30A?
Well, definitely Red Bar. You cannot come to 30A and not have the crab cakes at Red Bar.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a bit of a sin. Sunday brunch at Red Bar is also a must. Brunch at, there's a new, well, I say new, it's not brand new. It's been here for about a year or so, but it's called Black Bear Bread Company. And it's in Grayton, just on the opposite side of 30A, on the north side of 30A. And it's just heavenly food. It's a great place to go for breakfast. They also have lunch. They make all their breads in-house. It's the artisanal breads, and it's delicious. So I highly recommend a stop at Black Bear. Let me think. Black Bear, Red Bar, Bud and Alley's. That's like the quintessential cocktail experience on 30A, to go up to the rooftop bar and have a cocktail. And you can guess what time sunset is. And if you guess correctly, you win a free drink.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they always ring a bell at sunset, which is kind of fun. It's a nice way to end a day.
There's a former chef of Commander's Palace that has a place on 30A. Stinky's, I think. Is that?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Stinky's. Yeah. Stinky's is great. It's in Dune Allen Beach. Okay. That's a totally fun, laid back, delicious experience. Yeah. They have really good seafood.
And then I've eaten at Goat Feathers before. Is that still?
Yeah. Goat Feathers is still here. Okay. And Goat Feathers, they also have a seafood market. They have 2 now on 30A. So if you're staying somewhere that has a kitchen and you don't mind cooking, that's also something I would highly recommend, is just buying some local fish and, grilling it or just pan sauteing it at your house. There's nothing better than fresh caught fish.
We always make a stop and get probably 3 or 4 pounds of shrimp at the beginning of our trip. And we normally end up having to go back because it normally doesn't last the whole vacation. So,
yeah.
A lot of people love to do the shopping experience while they're on a beach vacation. And, a lot of people go to the outlets, the t-shirt shops, things like that. Do you feel that there are some unique shopping options there on 30A, and how so? What makes them unique?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of locally owned kind of mom and pop shops. You might not realize that they're mom and pop shops, but yeah, there's some great locally owned shops. As a writer, I love bookstores. That's kind of my happy place. Mm-hmm. So Sundog Books is, I could just spend all day in Sundog Books. I love it so much. That's in Seaside. And they also have a really cool record shop upstairs called Central Square Records. And you can get, the vinyl records, CDs. They've got really fun clothing in the back, all kind of weird, funny, probably not totally family appropriate, little little gifts and things. Yeah, that's one of my favorite places to go. But yeah, then there's also, let me think, like for jewelry, in Seaside. There's a beautiful shop that Wendy Minot owns. It's called La Viesse Belle, and they sell the pearls on the leather strands that have gotten really popular. I don't know if you've seen that on anyone, but they also sell really cool jewelry for men, also bracelets and necklaces with like the old shipwreck coins on them. And those are really nice. And then there's just some really fun clothing shops along 30A, and just like it's every single beach town just has its own little place to discover. I think that's what makes 30A so fun. It's not like a strip mall. It's kind of like nowhere you've ever been before. You can start at one end and go to the other, and just, you could probably spend all week doing that. Honestly.
I know driving through there, one thing I don't remember seeing a lot of are your typical T-shirt shops that are everywhere else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seemingly in Florida. You don't see a lot of that. I know it's a lot of definitely more unique and more not quite as touristy, I guess would be the word for it.
Yeah. 30A the locals worked pretty hard to keep some of those big, I don't want to say tacky, but
that's okay. You can say that.
Yeah. But kind of tacky beach stores out. They a lot of people really love the old going to the beach experience with the family and the locally owned shops, and where it was just more casual. You get to your cottage, you put your things down, and you can just walk and get your toes in the sand within a few minutes. And that's kind of, to me, the goal of 30A with our vacation experience that I think just about every single beach town wants our visitors to have. They want it to feel real. They don't want it to feel like you're somewhere chintzy having a, like they want you to feel like you're at home.
Yeah. Well, and when you're in one of those T-shirts, I mean, you could literally be on any beach in Florida. It's not a unique experience at all. So, but if you want that, the good thing about 30A is that it's still close enough where you can drive to one of those places if that's what you want. If you want a Corona bikini, you can still drive to Panama City and get it. So,
wait, Rob, is that a personal experience thing you're relating to us here?
Well, I don't want to talk about that right now, Dan. So.
Everyone check the website for pictures.
As a family, when we travel, my kids, the first question that they want to know is what's there to do. So what is there to do for families outside of the beach and shopping on 30A?
Well, it depends on the ages, to be honest. There are a lot of outdoor events because we are in the land of COVID. Some of those events, are going to be curtailed this summer, unfortunately. So I think a lot of the towns are kind of playing it by ear to see, what the rulings are on holding large events. There are a lot of outdoor concerts, which are great fun to go to for just about everybody. Of course, we've said the shopping. There are some arcades and video type places for older kids. And then we also have surf lessons. Like, surf lessons are super fun for just about all ages, as long as your kids are okay falling in the water and getting their face wet. They can take surf lessons. I highly recommend that. Fishing, we have some great guides that go out on the Choctawhatchee Bay and some of the quiet waterways just off the bay. And that's a great experience for kids of any age. They can go fishing. The guides know where all the fish are biting. So, your chances are pretty good. You're probably going to land something. So, I recommend, if you're down here on vacation, try to do something you don't normally do. If you've never gone fishing, take your kids fishing. Go on one of these tours. If you've never tried surfing, try it. Nobody on the beach cares if you fall or look silly. Everyone is self-absorbed into what they themselves are doing. So, you're not gonna make a fool of yourself, and you're probably gonna have a really great time, and you might even learn how to surf.
Now, I know like in Destin and Panama City, they have, deep sea fishing fleets that leave from both areas. Do they have that on 30A, or is it more local guides? Yeah,
we don't have that deep water access, so you can't hop on a boat like you can in Destin and pop out. But you can definitely book those with some local charters like in Grayton, and then you'll take the boat out in Destin. And also at Sandestin, you can go out at Sandestin in the marina. And there some folks have caught, I want to say it was like a 600-pound bluefin tuna.
Oh, wow.
Wow, man.
Yeah, was caught off the waters of Sandestin fairly recently, I believe at the beginning of the year. So there's some really great fishing. There are, speaking of Sandestin Marina, they also have some dinner, like a dinner cruise It's called
Okay.
Solaris, and they do, nightly dinner cruises. There's music. They feed you. They take you out. You can see the fireworks in Destin, assuming, like I said, with COVID, that
Right.
they're still going to be doing some of those events like that. But that's also great fun to do. Yeah.
What about festivals? Do you have any favorites?
Yeah, I love the Digital Arts Festival that Alice Beach hosts each year. It's typically in the spring. This year it's been postponed to the fall. And it's a digital, they call it digital graffiti because there are, I don't really know how to describe it. It's not like a movie projected onto the sides of the homes, but there are these beautiful moving.
Like projection mapping? Is that kind of what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes. But it's artwork. It's like moving, real, living artwork.
Oh,
They
that's cool.
project onto the homes, and all the homes in Alice Beach are white, solid white. They're concrete buildings with a stucco finish. So it's that nice, clean, white exterior. It's the perfect canvas for something like that. And so all the streets of of Alice Beach, it just literally comes alive at night. And it's just the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Yeah, that's one of my personal favorites. I really like that one.
And I know there's a songwriting festival on 30A, correct?
Yes, that has become huge. That happens in January
Okay.
of each year. And it is huge names have started coming for that. A lot of country songwriters and singers. It's really, really well attended. That's become a really kind of must-do event down here for locals.
There's quite a few country artists who have, I think, property somewhere on 30A. I know Luke Bryan is one of them, and
Yep.
I've seen several others that Kenny Chesney maybe. So
Yeah, they're rumored to be more down by Rosemary Beach and Water Sound.
Okay.
Is what I've heard. Yeah,
they
but
probably
yeah,
don't like to advertise that they're down there. So
no. But it is kind of funny. You'll be walking around. I've been walking around 38 before, and you'll see somebody go by on a bike, and you're like, "Wait, was that?" Because we are having more and more famous faces come down to visit, which is kind of fun.
And I know there's also a thriving art scene, which you mentioned just a little bit of there. Is that specific to one community, or is that just kind of a emphasis all along 30A?
No, it's all along 30A.
Okay.
The Cultural Arts Association has a really nice arts festival each year. It's typically in the spring. That also got postponed because of COVID to be later this year. But it's a really beautiful juried arts festival that happens. And we have a lot of local artists. You'll see local art in the majority of restaurants and hotels along 30A. There's a lot of talent here.
Well, the Watercolor Inn is a place I've always wanted to stay. I know there's several really interesting places all along 30A. Could you recommend some of those places to our listeners?
Yeah, Watercolor is a great one. It's beautiful. The Watercolor is one of my favorite places to go as a local and just walk. They have a lovely nature trail that cuts all the way around one edge of Western Lake. And there's beautiful bridges, and you can see into some of the little bayou areas along the walk. And it's a really beautiful way to end your day on that nature trail. And then Watercolor has also just opened a new watercolor camp facility for kids of all ages. They have a couple of swimming pools. They have a lazy river they just added to it. There's slides. They have lifeguards there at all times, keeping an eye out. And that amenity just opened this spring for folks. And then the Watercolor Inn Hotel that you mentioned, they just revamped their beach club. And so what used to be kind of a small Gulfront pool is now a much larger Gulfront pool and bar. And they have fire pits downstairs and places to lounge and hang out with your family. And it's a beautiful property.
What are some of the other ones along 38 that you might recommend? Is it mostly vacation rentals, or are there hotels? Yeah,
we don't have an awful lot of hotels. It's mainly vacation homes and weekly rentals. There is the Watercolor Inn, which is a hotel in Rosemary Beach. There's also 2 hotels there. There's a bed and breakfast, and then there's also a hotel there that's quite beautiful. And I'm trying to think if there's another hotel. I don't think there is. Seaside used to have like a motorcade style
Right.
hotel, but I don't believe they're operating that anymore. I believe it's just all home rentals now in Seaside.
Now, Seaside, is that where they filmed the Truman Show?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you have to go to Seaside if you're
It's so unique. It's not like anywhere else at the beach I've ever been. So it's a really fun place.
It is. And if you can, I highly recommend just rewatching The Truman Show. It's a great movie. Stars Jim Carrey. And if you've seen that and you have it in the back of your head, it's kind of extra fun to drive through Seaside, and because you'll see, it looks just like it did in the movie.
Yeah.
So what are some of the secrets that you can divulge about these beaches? Like what do the locals know that we should know also?
Other than wear sunscreen.
Yeah, what do we need?
Don't start out your vacation with an all day stay on the sand, and then the rest of your trip you look like a lobster. Yeah, there are some beautiful state parks here that are Gulfront. Grayton Beach State Park is right on the Gulf. It also has lake access to Western Lake. There's some really beautiful special trails right there by the lake where you actually go underneath the tree canopy in the dunes. And that's really fun. It's really neat for everyone, but I think little kids especially love it because it feels kind of magical when you dip down and you're kind of, underneath in the dunes in an area you would never have access to. That's a fun little walk to go on.
Now, I was just going to ask about, you mentioned COVID-19 and all the things that have come as a result of that. How's the area holding up? I read, I can't remember, a couple of days ago where it said if you're coming down, you should pretty much bring your groceries with you. Is that something that you would suggest right now, or?
It's getting better.
Okay.
Yeah. For a couple of weeks there, it was really hard to find, toilet paper and paper towels because we are a small town. We only have a few grocery stores. Our hospital is very small. The COVID numbers, I believe they're around 130, 140 right now for the county. The deaths that we've had, unfortunately, have been associated with a nursing home.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But yes, I do think the supplies are better. We would love it if everyone who comes to visit wear a mask when they're in the grocery store and in crowded shops. A lot of tourists aren't doing that. And that's, it's a little scary when you, like I said, when you live in a small town and we do have small health facilities. It's a little worrisome.
Especially when you have people coming from everywhere to the beach there. So
yeah, all over. So yes, please definitely wear a mask if you can when you're indoors in a crowded space. And I would, depending on if you're not staying in a hotel, I don't think it would hurt to throw a few rolls of extra toilet paper, some paper towels, maybe enough food to get you through the first night you're here, so you're not stressed out and feeling like you have to get everything in one grocery trip.
Well, Susan, thank you so much for being on the show. What is the easiest way for our listeners to read more of your work?
Oh, well, I write for various publications. I used to have a print publication called 38 Kids Club that was devoted to what there was to do here for families on vacation. That is being relaunched into the web form. So they can find that at 38kidsclub.com. And that'll give you some tips and information and some things to think about, especially if you're going to the beach with little ones, to keep them busy. So maybe you can actually relax for a few minutes.
Well, Susan, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope I was of some help, and I hope your listeners will come down and visit our beaches. It's a beautiful place. It's unlike anywhere else.
Thanks so much.
Awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, before we go, I wanted to mention I also spoke with Carson Patrick of 38 Cottages, 38cottages.com. We talked about vacation rentals. A lot of people, when they go to that area, they stay in vacation rentals. There's not a ton, especially on 38, not a ton of traditional hotels. He made a short list of what makes a good guest, and I thought it was worth repeating here. It basically starts out saying, leave no trace. Anything you bring into the home is to be taken with you at departure. You leave it in broom swept condition. This includes the infamous goldfish crackers. So I guess that's
those end up everywhere.
Yeah,
Check the sofa cushions.
No food of any kind should be left behind. Now, we're guilty of that, thinking, oh, well, we've got this flat of waters with surely the people after, but I don't think they can actually leave those in there, especially now with the cleaning regulations in place.
Probably not.
So don't leave any food behind if you stay in a vacation rental property. All garbage needs to be removed and placed in the receptacles provided outside. All dishes should be washed or the dishwasher started. Dirty towels should be placed in the tub or the shower. And then this makes plenty of common sense. Please make a last walkthrough checking drawers for any items you may have forgotten. So you don't have that panic email or call going, my kid left his iPad. Can you overnight it to us? No.
Like my daughter, who I'm pretty sure to this day left a little game system in a hotel in Hawaii. So another thing about this, it's important to leave no trace, as you said, and leave it better than you found it. A lot of times, like with us in Indian Rocks Beach, we have kind of, I view it as almost an ongoing relationship with the owners of the condo.
Right.
And you want to come back. We consider that our place to go when we go to Indian Rocks, and we want to have a good relationship. But also, it's just part of being a great person, just considering it your own and treating it like your own.
Yeah, I mean, I tell my kids all the time, if you're making a mess, should somebody else have to clean it up? No. So, well, if you're ready to make a break for 30A, drop me a line and I can help you plan that vacation. So if you'll email me at rjones@starstufftravel.com, let's plan that vacation. So that's all for this week. Come back in 2 weeks when we take a look at beautiful Charleston, South Carolina. Don't forget to click the subscribe button so you don't miss any episode. Till next time.
Thank you for listening to The Family Vacationer. Make sure and subscribe to hear more of Rob and Danny.